Let's go ahead and roll on the point of interest table and see what comes up and use our abductive reasoning. First of all, let's find out, is this an actual burial mound where someone is buried? Yes and no, and the tiebreaker is a yes. So that yes, this is a burial mound. Let's go ahead and Hey Wargamers, welcome back. Purple Druid here. And we have another episode of Kal-Arath Druid Quest. Brundax and his journey to the Trollfen. For those of you who might be new, we are using the framework of Kal-Arath with some other rules that I've put together. And we're following the adventures of Brundax, who is a mystic from the town of Highfork. He is traveling down here to Kal-Arath, where his intent is to resupply and then make his way around the Trollfens to Trollfen Castle, which is over here. Now, in our last episode, Brundax and company were camping here in this hex in order to rest and recover and gather food for the rest of their journey. They had been badly mauled by some giant mantises, and so they needed some time to recover from that. And now at this point, we are going to travel south because we want to avoid this spot here, which is the Druid's Grove. There's a bad druid. Let's see if I can get this a little closer for you so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. All right, so we're camped out here. They had been following the river down to the Druid's Grove. They were attacked and driven back. So now what we're planning is to move directly south for a few miles and then turn to the southwest and shoot for Kal-Arath and or the river and or the shore. Wherever they land, they'll be able to get to Kal-Arath because they'll know where to go. We are going to do something a little bit different. Instead of actually playing on this map, I have created a slightly larger scale version. So we're going to zoom back out. There we go. So here's Kal-Arath. Here's the camp. And the flat top hexes, this is north. So we're going to be traveling south and then angling off this direction. This large hex here, this is a 25-mile hex. Each of these smaller hexes are 5-mile hexes, and then these little ones, which you may not be able to see, are 1-mile hexes. We are going to follow the terrain generation procedure that we've been using to generate the basic terrain for the 5-mile hexes, and then we will use the campaign hexagon system to determine the terrain for the 1-mile hexes as we make our way south. We're also going to use the Kal-Arath play procedure for daily play as opposed to weekly play because number one, we're so close, and number two, I want to experiment with that format. But that being said, let's go ahead and check our weather. So we'll turn, first off, event cards for overland travel. On a roll of a d6, if we get a 6, we will roll on this d20 chart see if we have any special events. Get that any smaller? No. Let's get this over here where you can see it. 3. Okay, we do not have any special events. So now the next thing we'll do is roll for the weather. And on the weather chart, according to our last session, the weather was number 8. This is movement. Okay. Weather was number 8, which was clear. So we're going to roll 2d6, find the total, and then we'll change the row by this number here. That's the wrong die. Good grief. All right, so we have a 6. We got a lot of 6s. So -1, so the weather is going to become a 7, which is clear. 1 to 2 is a breeze, 3 to 5 is wind, and 6 is strong winds. 6. We have strong winds today on day 1. Okay, so that's the first thing we do is check the weather. And now we're going to do the subsidiary terrain. And we'll do that before we roll for getting lost. So we're going to plot the terrain for the 5-mile hexes. I need a bigger table. The 5-mile hexes south of the camp. And just to double check, if we look at last week, where did I put that? I didn't write it down. Well, we're going to go ahead and roll for this one. This is grasslands, I'm pretty sure. So, we are in a grasslands hex. Secondary terrain. We're going to roll a d-average +4 for the quantity of subhexes of the first terrain type, and a d-average +2 for the quantity of subhexes of the second terrain type. And then we'll sketch those in. So we'll go to our terrain chart. We are in grasslands. And we're going to start with a d20 for the secondary. It's 1, which is a river. Okay. And then we roll our d-average. 5 + 4. So 9 of these hexes are going to contain a river. Now, it may or may not be navigable. We'll check that in a little bit. We're going to use the campaign hexagon system for that. So the secondary terrain in hex 2225, and then the tertiary terrain type is a 3, which is forest. And that's d-average +2, which will be 6. Now the river is going to be windy, and it needs to meet up here or possibly along the shore. Maybe there's another town. So let's ask our augury dice. If it's a yes, the river goes to the shore. If it's a no, the river meets up with the other river. We have a yes and a no. The tiebreaker says no. So that means we're going to meet up with the river somewhere along here. Now we're winding through here, and for it to take up 9 hexes, we're going to use the right hand side. So we'll roll a d10 to see where we start. Number 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the river is going to start here. And now we need to make our way over here. And what's the best way to do that randomly? Well, let's say this direction on a D6, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's a 4. So the river is going to go like this. And then once again, we're pointing this direction. A 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go through here. Let's change dice. A 5. All right, so now we're going to go up this way. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. So we're going to come back this way. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes. A 1. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to come down here. So we're going to change dice again. 6. We'll come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, now we need to do 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. That'll be 8, and this will be 9. And that'll bring us back in. So that is the path of our river. And we'll get our campaign hexagon system. And we'll turn to the hydrographic terrain. And let's see just what kind of hydrographic terrain this is. It is a 10. It is unusual. Oh boy. That's starting here. 9. Hot springs. Okay, so we've got hot springs here. Interesting. So now let's go and we're just going to go right down the line. And I think what we'll do is we're going to roll the D average plus 4. And that's going to give us anywhere from a 6, 7, 8, or 9. And that will be the size of our river. An 8. So it's going to be a stream, 100 to 1,000 feet wide and 60 to 360 feet deep. All right, so that'll be D10 times 100. 300 feet wide, and that's going to be what hex? 1, A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So E5, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be D4. Then C3, C2. So now D4. 4 plus 4 is an 8 again. So once again, it's a stream, 1,000 feet wide. And that'll be a 7. So now it'll be a runlet, 80 to 480. So it's going to be 8d6 times 10. 2, 4, 6, 8. 5, 10, 15, 17. So it's going to narrow down a lot, down to 170 in C3. So that means it's probably going to be getting deeper and running faster. But we'll massage these numbers as needed. So after that we have C2, B3, A4, A3, B2, and A2. B2, A2. All right. 7, the runlet. And now we're bigger again. 5, 10, 20, 35, 350 feet wide. That's a 9 river, 2d10. $15. 1,500 feet wide. A4 is 7. Back down to the runlet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 14, 140 feet. A3 is 7. That's our runlet again. 1, 2, 5, 10, 24, 240 feet. And then B2 is 8. We're back up to stream, 1d10, 700 feet. And then finally, 5, 9, 2d10, 1,100 feet. Okay, so we've got that taken care of. Now we need to drop in some forest. And we'll go ahead and we're going to roll a d6 to determine which side it's on, the right or the left. 1 to 3 is left. 6 is going to be on the right. So we roll a d10. 2. This is the center. We start here. 1, 2. So the forest is going to start here. This will be forest. And now we have 6 of those. So we're going to do 2 red, 2 white, a black, and a blue. No. We need 5 more, so 6. Okay. And we're going to do red, white, blue, black in that order. Red, 1. So this is forest. From here, red, white. We go to 5 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is forest. And 6. This is forest. Blue is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then black 1. So we're going to skip ahead, and then that's going to transform this grassland piece into a forest piece. All right. So these 6 hexes are forest. And then our river starts with a hot spring here and runs along like that. So that is our terrain that we'll be traveling through. The rest of this terrain is all going to be grassland. All right, now back to our procedures. Next up, we have getting lost and foraging. Our party can move 4 hexes in a day. 4 5-mile hexes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Theoretically, they can shoot for this spot, target 1, today. So we need to roll for getting lost. And that's a 1 or a 2 on a d6. It's a 3. They did not get lost. And so they make it to the river. Now at C3, it is 170 feet wide. And how deep is it? Could be quite deep. This is a runlet, 40 to 240, so 46. $10, 16. So that'll be 160 feet deep in C3. So that's not going to be crossable. what we're going to do is they can go upstream or downstream looking for a ford. So let's roll a die for that. Let's roll our bones. Yes is upstream. Yes. So we're going to head upstream until we can find a ford. So into D4, the river is 1,000 feet wide. So it's going to be shallower. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to roll... No, I'm going to assume that because we're in D4, it's 1,000 feet wide, that it will be shallow enough that they can wade across and or float a little bit. Because we also have some forest here, so we'll have to roll for that forest in a little bit. So we're going to put 6 to 10 feet here. Now, D4, theoretically we can roll for all of these hexes, but we're just going to roll for the ones because they're following the river. So we're going to go to normal terrain. We get a 9. That's hydrographic, obviously. So, I'm sorry, no, it's going to be forest. Oh, that counts. Okay. So this will just be regular forest terrain. The next one is a 1, flatlands. So that will be regular forest as well. And then they make their way here, and this is where they find the ford. So they'll cross. One, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be the end of their travel for the day. So we're in D4. So day 1, they travel through to D4. And that is hex 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. D4, 16. Okay. So we're going to make camp there. But before we can do that, we have to roll for... We're not going to roll for foraging because we didn't do that. We moved full rate because we've got plenty of food. As you will recall... At the end of the week, we have 29 rations and 9 water. So we're going to go through 9 rations. So we have 20 rations remaining. And we would be out of water, except that we're along the river, so we don't have to worry about that. So we've got plenty of food and plenty of water, so we don't need to mark anything off here. So day 1, we'll just draw a line on our... This is our food tracker. So day 1, if we don't have enough food, we're going to start hitting these, and we'll have minuses for movement. Roll for points of interest. Did we encounter any points of interest today? All right, black is 10s. 51. 51 is a giant's skull or bones. Skull or bones? Skull is odd. Okay, so they find a giant's skull somewhere along here. Let's say they find it right about here. Giant's skull. I'm going to put a little GS. Yeah, that works. And then we roll for encounters. On a 5 or a 6, we'll have an encounter. It's a 3, no encounter. And so now we are in camp. We consume our resources, so we're down to 20 rations. We have our recovery, which we did not need. And finally, on the overnight, we'll roll for an encounter overnight. The 6, there's an encounter on a 1 or a 2, so there's no encounter on the end of the day. So now we'll begin day 2, crossing over the river in the morning, and then making our way through the forest. They are going to go southwest, and their goal will be 4. So let's make their target here, T2. And I'm going to say that because this is all forest, there's a good chance that they can get lost. So we're going to double the chances for getting lost. 1 to 2 means they're lost. So we're going to say 1 to 3. We'll increase it by 1. 4. All right. And should we check every hex? No. We will not check every hex. So they are going to make their way this way. What kind of terrain do we have? Next subhex is 9. That says hydrographic, so we'll make a little stream coming in there. Next, 4, flatlands. So this, again, this is forest, this is forest. Here is a 5, uplands, 1 to 6. 4 on the uplands chart is an elevation, see subtable. Elevation subtable 3 is a barrow, 80 to 480 feet wide and 40 to 240 feet tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 5, 10, 16. 160 feet wide barrow. And then 40 to 240 wide. I'm just going to roll the red dice for this one. And that will be 10, 19, 190 feet tall. Interesting. That is definitely going to be a point of interest. Well, let's go ahead and roll on the point of interest table and see what comes up and use our abductive reasoning. First of all, let's find out, is this an actual barrow mound where someone is buried? Yes and no, and the tiebreaker is a yes. So that yes, this is a burial mound. Now, let's roll for point of interest. 55. Recently abandoned battle barge. I don't think that fits. Let's roll again. 51. Giant skull, we already had that one. 45. Ancient volcanic caldera. Well, no, this is a barrow. 33. A sacrifice site with weathered bodies on posts. Perfect. Now, let us see if there's any kind of cool encounter thing that maybe is a sign. 24. Sacred procession of monks and worshippers. Okay, I like that. Sacred procession of 66 monks and worshippers. Let's see how many that is. Let's see here. 5, 10, 22, 23. Monks and worshippers. Let's go ahead and see what's their motivation. What are they doing here? 62. They are here to solve a mystery. Well, are they a mystery cult? Yes. Yes, they are. Okay, so their sacrifice was for some sort of omen. Did they get the omen they wanted? No. No positive omen. All right. So let's roll on rumors and opportunities and see what they did find out. 35. There's a mysterious hermit's warning. A mysterious warning. Instead, mysterious warning. Well, this is going to make for an interesting encounter, don't you think? All right. So that is that's our day 2. Let's roll the bones and find out, is Brundax and company, are they going to engage with the monks and worshippers, or will they attempt to go around? No, they will not engage. All right, so we have a mound here, and we're going to skirt around. So are we able to skirt around without being seen? Yes. All right, so what's down here? Let's roll in our terrain chart again. 8 plants. All right, so we've come across some sort of resource. We are rolling on the subtropical. 10 to 60 subhexes within that one, so we're just doing this one right now. I don't need that. What I need is a D20. There we go. 17 grapes. Interesting. Okay, so we have grapes here, and then we go on around the hill, and that's a 2 for flatland, so still forest. And you know what? Let's roll to see if we got lost. On a 1 or a 2, we got lost. No, we did not. All right. So we're going to continue this direction. We're going here. That's a 2, flatland, more forest. Next. 7. 7 is Florida. Did I say fauna? Was that supposed to be something besides grapes? Shoot. All right, well, okay. Sometimes you make mistakes. That's what happens in solo play, because you got to do all this stuff by yourself. All right, 18. We have scrub grass here. So this hex is going to be scrub grass. And our next hex is a 7, which is more flora. 10 Belladonna. All right, next up. A 9, which is going to be hydrographic. All right, let's roll on the hydrographic table and see what we get. Again, this is going to be just a D6. It's a 3, a rill, 6 to 36 feet wide. Six, 10, 13 feet wide. So there's a little rill here. And 3 to 18 feet deep. 7 feet deep. So they're able to cross. And we'll figure out where that goes in the future. But right now, there's a rill there. And now this hex is a 9. That is hydrographic again. Okay, so the rill is going to continue this way. And is there forest in either of these hexes? Not in that one. Yes, in this one. So this is forest again. And then we are back into grassland. So we're going to start rolling on the grassland table. We're going to go here. What's our terrain? 6. Lowlands. 9. A basin. 100 to 1,000 feet wide. 60 to 360 feet deep. $900 feet wide. Basin. 900 feet wide and 60 to 360 deep. $10, $15, $19, $21, 210 feet deep. All right. How are we doing here? 42, that's not bad. All right, next up. 10, hydrographic. A 1, a rivulet. We're going to say this rivulet here runs right down into that basin. And there's a small lake at the bottom. Pool. There's a pool at the bottom. And then this is a rivulet. Next up, 8. Is fauna. Fauna. We're going to roll on the fauna table. Semi-arid. 19. Birds. The bird chart. All right, we need a D4. 4, it's a game bird. 16. Gobblers. I don't even know what a gobbler is, but that's all right. We're going to say they run into some turkeys there. And let's see if they're able to get a day's worth of rations from those gobblers. Yes. Yes, they do. All right, so they encounter some birds. All right. Now that puts us here. And we still have a ways to go. because we weren't counting properly. Because forest is 1 to 2, depending on how heavy it is. All right, so let's see if it's light or heavy. Yes means light forest. Okay, so this hex is light forest. What is this hex? Light forest. So both of those are light. Okay, so that's fine. So we went 5, 10, 15, 20. We can get down to T2 here. So we're going to come out of the grass, or out of the forest, and into the grass. And now we're going to enter into a new hex, and we know that this is all grassland. So I'm not going to roll for any more subterranes, because this has all been explored and mapped. So let's go ahead and take our next step. We are not foraging. We have our point of interest already. We'll roll for an encounter on a 5 or 6. There is an encounter. Okay, perfect. One, two, three, 4. We're going to roll a d8. 3. 1, 2, 3. So somewhere in this area, sorry, no. 1, 2, 3. They're going to have an encounter in this hex. $34. Slave traders with D6 guards and 3d6 slaves. All right, so slave traders, this is 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, hex 27. I'm sorry. It's not hex 27. That is E, 1, 2, 3, E3. Slave traders with slaves. First, we're going to do a reaction roll. We're going to roll on the regular table. A 7. They are neutral. All right, so now we're going to roll the bones. Since they're neutral, are the slave traders heading back to the city, or are they heading somewhere else? Yes, they are heading back to the city. Will they allow the party to join them? We have 2 different ones. Yes. We have 2 different ones. The tiebreaker says yes. So yes, they'll join, and it will be beneficial. We have a son. So the party is going to join, and it will be beneficial. And let's see, we are at 49 minutes here, so I think this is a good place to pause. Right in E3. Just going to draw a circle there. This is where we're going to pause. I'm going to spend some time between now and when we resume and figure out a little bit about these slave traders and how to best handle this. So the reaction roll was a 7, neutral. And what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and look at the motivation, traits, rumors and opportunities, and we'll see what we can put together for these slave traders as we travel back to the city. Okay, so that will be in the second part of this video. But I need to take some time to think about this because I want it to be more interesting than something I can just throw together in a couple of seconds. So stand by, and we'll be back in just a bit.